Ted Jones messed with the wrong melon farmers.
Ted Jones, I also call him the eighth wonder of the real estate world.
Ted Jones, who knows, it could be.
Ted Jones?
The Ted Jones World Podcast.
Yo, what is good, fellow Ted Jones Worlders? Happy episode 27. We've officially made it over the 6-month hump. Pat, we did a great job, man.
Half a year
Good to
down.
see you.
Good
As
to see you
always,
too.
you look great.
Thanks, you too.
We have a special guest today on episode 27 of the Ted Jones World Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, comedian and my good buddy, Benny Demarco. What's up?
What up, Josie?
Benny, how
What's
are
up,
you,
man?
buddy? Good to see you,
I'm
man.
good, dude.
So last episode, we were talking about conspiracy theories, and we figured we wanted to get you on part 2 of conspiracy theories. But just before we just get into that, why don't you give the listeners and viewers here a little bit of a background of yourself? Like, where did you grow up? Where'd you start your life, pal?
Oh, as you know, I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I'm actually heading out there tomorrow morning. I'm actually heading back out to Portland, see my mom for her birthday, and do some shows and shit like that. But yeah,
Nice,
from
man.
Portland, Oregon originally, but I've been in New York 10 years now.
How long has weed been legal in Oregon?
Shit, I would say only about 2 years.
2 years, but like,
Yeah.
was it more accessible? Would you say than a New York or?
Oh yeah, it was very easy to get marijuana in Oregon.
Why is that?
all the
Is that
time.
just because like?
But it was
they're
it
growing
was
it
just
there a lot?
yeah, it was just I'd say it's easier here in New York actually because you had all the delivery services and all that shit.
Right.
But
I feel
now
like
that
New
it's,
York, just in general, is just like known for getting.
yeah, you can get
weed delivered
Yeah, you can
very
get all
easily.
sorts of shit delivered here in New York. But yeah, the weed in Oregon now it's everywhere. There's more weed shops than there are bars and.
Well, that's the way it should be, man. It's a plant, came here on Earth, and I don't think it really harms anyone.
Me either.
So, dude, where are you living now? You said you moved here like 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
where are you living at now?
Well, I live in New Jersey actually.
Fresh.
little
I was actually born in New Jersey. I lived
knew
there for
that.
6
Yeah,
weeks.
nice.
It was tight, but I'm in New Jersey, like kind of on the reg a little bit for my day job.
Right,
my
you're out
side
there.
job.
You're
So
out
I'm
there every once in a while.
sometime.
Nice.
Yeah, bro. And I've been to your
Yeah.
spot. It's fresh.
Yeah, it's in West
it's
New
on
York.
the water, man.
Yeah.
And it's just a quick little bus ride over that
Quick
bridge.
little bus ride. It's predominantly a Spanish-speaking neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
So I've been brushing up on my Espanol. That I always
Right.
go to the bodegas and.
Did you ever
and
speak
a little
Spanish?
Spanish? No, man. I
That accent was not that bad.
in high school. You got to take it. But
Right.
But my high school teacher, she was a fox. My Spanish teacher was
Spanish teachers are always hot.
stone cold fox, dude. And yeah, I remember it was like, my senior year trying to, like taking the class, and she just did not give a fuck about the seniors really. Like she was just passing everybody, so it was no big deal. I didn't really take it very seriously.
What was this, like Spanish 1 or something? Or
I think it was like the second. Yeah, it was like the second year of Spanish. I took it my junior year. That Spanish teacher was not hot. It was it was an older Spanish guy. He was a good dude, but yeah, no, I could.
Just was
I
not
wish I
hot.
could. I wish I could. I think her name was Miss Rumba. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
Miss
fixing
Rumba.
my stick over here.
Yeah,
my
man, it's all
microphone
good.
stick.
It's all
Sorry
good.
about that.
It's-
Keep talking while
It's
I'm
all
fixing my
right.
stick.
Yeah, fix your stick. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I'm excited to head home. To be honest, I'm doing. I'm hopping on some shows with Andrew Schultz while I'm out there too. So that should be pretty cool. Over at Helium Comedy Club in Portland, which
Yeah, shout that out. Shout out the dates actually. In
yeah,
time.
that's on. God damn, I think it's on the 26th and the 27th, if that's correct. Yeah, it's this weekend. It's Friday and Saturday. He was nice enough to throw me on the shows, and yeah, I'm excited because Schultz was he's the king right now, and he's
Wait, he has a podcast too, right?
he
What's
does
it
he has
called?
the Brilliant Idiots podcast, and he has
Okay.
the Flagrant 2 podcast, and I'm sure he's got another one. The kid's a fucking king of the fucking empire right now. You know what I
Word,
mean?
good for him.
But yeah,
you're
so
you're
shows-
hopping on his shows in Oregon.
Yeah, they should be sold
Very
out.
fresh.
In fact, I know
Nice.
they're sold out. So, and his crowd's very good for me. They're young people and fucking should be
Nice,
great.
man.
Great weekend.
Nice.
Did you fix your stick, dude?
So, dude, yeah, we're all good. Fix the microphone stick on air live. I
Fantastic.
did that. Usually, I would
Nice.
need Pat to help me out with that, but
You
I
did a
did it
good
all
job.
by myself over here. I did it pretty quickly too.
Fantastic.
So, Benny, when did you and I first meet, man? I feel like we kind of just like meshed together, and I don't know if there was really
Yeah.
like an aha moment?
No,
where we just,
I
started
yeah,
chatting?
I don't know, man. It had to have been at Fat Baby.
You know,
right?
as they say, like an aha moment. Oh, dude, can you just please describe Fat Baby to everyone watching and listening right now about like what Fat Baby actually was?
Fat
and
Baby
how it started.
Fat Baby was first and foremost, it was a bar in the Lower East Side for years and years and years, and a club. Really, it was a nightclub, but they had a music space downstairs, and they had never tried doing comedy there. And me and our friend Julio started the first comedy show at Fat Baby, which then evolved into the most degenerate party comedy freak show.
Truly, it was
like,
insane.
yeah, it
Some
was
nights
really
got insane. There.
It was really something. Really, it was really something, and I'm very proud of what we did in that space. But I'm pretty sure that's where we met, is at Fat Baby. But I have no idea.
I think so. Well, also you guys had like that spread in like what was it? Time Out New York.
Yeah, Time Out New
Best
York.
like free little comedy show. Just got super weird down there. And I remember. I mean, this was when I was like 22, 23, when I can like hang and drink till like 1 a.m. on a school night. You know what I mean? Like going to work the next day at 9 a.m. like didn't phase me.
Yeah, we used to do it on a Wednesday,
now,
and we would all get
I cannot
completely trashed
anymore.
on a Wednesday. Yeah,
it's insane.
What day is it today? Tuesday? I mean, I don't know. We got a little
Today's
tequila in here, right?
yeah, I guess so. But nothing like Fat Baby. So yeah, it was just like a comedy show that got out of control.
Really great. We used to book fantastic lineups.
It was
always packed.
Yeah, there were always funny people there.
Yeah, man. It was a scene. It was its own scene. And yeah, I miss that bar, dude. It's been shuttered up since it closed 2 years ago. They haven't even put a new bar in there. Like,
did somebody buy that? Like the building?
No,
or like
the owner.
Just like
the owner owns a lot of bars in the Lower East Side. The guy that used to own Fat Baby, and he was moving to France, and Fat Baby used to get in a lot of trouble in the Lower East Side. They were constantly there were constantly fights and drug use and all sorts of shit at the bar. So,
this wasn't during the Fat Baby shows. This was
just like during the clubs. During the club hours.
Right.
But it didn't have a very good reputation. So the owner thought, if I'm moving to France, I don't want to have to take care of this bar anymore while I'm overseas. So he just stopped paying the rent on it, and like didn't even like nobody even bought it, or like I'm pretty sure it's just fucking
just sitting there.
Right?
Just
Yeah.
boarded up. It's gotta be.
Is the sign still out there?
No, the sign's gone. The sign's gone. The sign's gone.
It's on Rivington Street now.
Yeah, Essex and Rivington.
Like right across the street.
I'm
from
hoping
Hotel
somebody
Rivington.
buys it, but it's got to be filled with rats and shit now. Like many.
I'm sure that's
because there were rats. There were rats there when we were there. You know what I mean?
No, there's definitely more rats.
There's more rats.
Multiply
for sure.
rats.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so dude, you're talking about you're going, I guess on like a mini tour situation, or you're going. Going to
I'm hitting
doing
Houston
shows,
too.
Whatever. And also you're going to Atlantic City a little bit.
I go to Atlantic City a lot of it.
Yeah, man. So doing some travel work, which is fresh. So like, what would you say within like the last year and a half, 2 years or whatever has been the most fun like project you've worked on, or like best I don't know, like best set you've done, or like most enjoyable performance, something like that. Something that
I've been working on a silly little project in Atlantic City, actually, with a buddy of mine. It's a kind of a fake news show, basically, where I'm interviewing people on the boardwalk, because Atlantic City is filled with fucking crazy freaks and like all sorts of stuff.
Right.
So we're putting it together. But my character's name is Nathan Mellows, and I work for Atlantic City One News.
That is such a soft name. Like, I would love to give an interview to Nathan Mellows.
Yeah, exactly.
Let
so
him
I wear a nice
my
shirt,
voice.
and I put on a jacket and a tie and shit, and So we shot a lot of it. We shot a lot of it
Nathan
last
Mellows.
summer. Yeah, I'll show you. We have a little trailer for it. I'll show you the trailer for it. Yeah.
Oh my God, you have to.
Yeah, so that's a little project I'm working on. But
great.
like favorite sets and shit. Like recently, Ricky and Julie got married.
Yes,
and
in Florida, beautiful wedding.
Miami,
Ricky Velez,
yep.
episode 20.
Exactly.
Wow,
Ted
good
Jones
memory.
World
Yeah.
podcast.
Wow.
Yes. So,
And we were all
that was
there
a good
having a
one,
great time.
Yes.
And my homie Pete Davidson was like, "Yo, you gonna be in Portland? Because we're doing a big theater in Portland." And he invited me to be on the show. And
Dope.
and I think that was like the one of the highlight shows for sure, because I was there with Pete and Julio and Jordan Rock and Nico.
That was right after the.
It was like right after the wedding. It was like 2 days after the wedding. Yeah, it was
so
crazy.
dope. So
and
dope.
yeah, playing your hometown and stuff like that with all your homies was just really, really fun.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
So you had been the subject of discussion when Julio came on the phone here last week. Julio actually called in randomly, and we were talking to him over the system we have over there, over the Bluetooth. And, we were talking about conspiracy theories, and Julio seemed to agree with us when we discussed that, like, the JFK getting shot situation was was a conspiracy, and then also Jeffrey Epstein killing himself is also a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were talking to Julio, he was saying that maybe you had a hint of conspiracy isms in you. Do you have anything in particular that like you have thought about fully that is something that people really would think you're crazy for saying or even thinking for that matter?
I don't think so. Like I have pretty much like the standard conspiracy beliefs. Like I 100% don't believe we've been to the moon. I 100%.
Okay, so,
like you can't sway me on that shit.
He's saying standard, and then he's saying this. Okay, keep it going.
But
yes,
that's a standard. A lot of people don't believe that a man has ever walked on the moon.
That's like an entry level.
Yeah,
conspiracy.
that's entry level.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the one that I can let. That I think I look at the information. I go, there's too much weird shit. And then another basic one is 9/11, fucking Building 7.
Wait. Okay, can you?
Okay, so
elaborate
yeah,
on that?
so Building 7 was a building. There was Towers 1 and 2, and then there was World Trade Center 7, which went down completely on its own accord. Some other news stations were reporting that it had fallen before it had even fallen.
Yeah.
And look at that. See, look, it's fucking blowing my ears off. I'm getting so excited. But yeah, man.
That'd be a message. But Benny's ears, headphones just went flying off his head.
Yeah,
I don't even know how that happened. But anyway, continue. You're talking about World Trade Center Tower number 7.
So yeah, as far as my conspiracy theories go, it's usually just like stuff that like you've heard about.
You know what? To be honest, like I don't want to make it seem like I think you're too crazy here because I actually have. I've actually heard about that moon situation. Like I don't know, maybe Neil Armstrong took a picture in front of a green screen, or there's like a lot.
And we haven't been back to the moon since.
Yeah, that was weird.
2020.
That's weird.
No other country has gone either, which is baffling. To me.
Russia had said
no man missions except the United States during Nixon's administration, and then we've never gone back. And you know what we were really good at during that time period? Hollywood shit. Fucking all that. We were the lead in television and movies. Still are.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just fishy to me because other countries haven't gone, and everybody's like, oh well, the space race. It was between us and Russia.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Wanted to get there.
And then so we get there, and then Russia's just like, nah, we not going.
Yeah.
We're not going anymore. Because that's what's suspicious to me is like Russia like just stopped. Do you know what I mean? Because what I find weird, a lot of people are like, well, it's because the U.S. went up there and they didn't find nothing. And so Russia was like, well, we're not going to spend billions of dollars because there's not shit up there. Like we lost the race, they beat us there. We're not gonna go anymore.
Right.
But if my enemy went up somewhere and they were like, yo, there's nothing up here, I would be like, yo, there's some shit up there. And I would still continue. Like, why would you not go? And the fact that China hasn't been, that's what's the most suspicious. And I don't trust the U.S. government, period. Like
the U.S. government, it's definitely.
I've seen videos. I've seen those videos on YouTube of like when they're on the moon and they're picking the guy up, and it looks like he's on cables.
On cables. There's
one was when I saw that one, I was like, whoa, that looks.
Yeah,
really
there was an
crazy
interview
fake.
that Rogan was doing an interview with Gerard Carmichael, and it's they pull up all sorts of different shit. But what's really suspicious is when they all get interviewed after they come back from the moon, like Buzz Aldrin,
and the weird shit that Buzz Aldrin has been saying since then.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, they all get interviewed.
What do you mean? What has he been saying?
What's he been saying?
You've never seen like these weird speeches he gives?
Oh, where it's like, it'll all come to light.
Yeah.
He gives very like
cryptic,
yes. But that shit could just be the ramblings of a senile old man.
That's true.
So as far as conspiracy theories go, those are like my big like 2, and then but it's totally possible. I 100% also think aliens have been here before.
Oh yeah.
So I don't even know if that's a conspiracy theory or just fucking straight up knowledge, bro.
So I just want to go back to the World Trade Center tower number 7 blowing up.
Yeah, building 7.
I had also heard I don't know that this was like a thing. So I don't know. It just seems like a little bit weird that like the government would be able to hold, I don't know, such a big secret for so many years and so many different generations and different things that like people just won't believe. And why would the government why would the government have airplanes go into the World Trade Center so that they could go to war and then expand the economy? That's been
as
said.
far as motive, I don't really know. I don't know what like the bigger scheme or bigger picture could have been for pulling that off or doing something like that. But what I do know is that when I look at the evidence and the facts and the information that has been presented to the general public, I look at that information and I see holes in it, and I go,
sketchy.
yeah, and I go, this is sketchy. Even the Pentagon shit, all these the most highly secured place which has cameras fucking everywhere. There's not a single goddamn angle of this plane hitting your shit. You know what I mean? Like there's just fishing, and you know what I mean. If you hear that
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Exactly.
So I think something like with Epstein, a lot of the things going wrong where the guards weren't paying attention, then they lost the footage on the camera, and then his cellmate wasn't there. It's just a yada yada yada, this that the other thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say definitely like Benny was about to say, just where there's smoke, there's fire is usually the situation where there could be a conspiracy, but never freaking know. Okay, Benny, but I think the real one that I was referring to was Giulio Gallerati, episode 7, had said that you possibly think that the Earth is flat. Is that a joke or what?
That's a joke. For I think it was 7 days, I did an experiment on Facebook because there's this kid that I went to high school with that I still followed on Facebook, right? And he was posting some wild shit, right?
Yeah.
Like some crazy flat Earth shit where when I was reading it, I was getting so angry when I was reading it. And I was like, yo, but this dude doesn't strike me as somebody that's actually this stupid, right? So then I went into the Facebook group that he was a part of, like World Flat Earthers or whatever, right? And I went in there and I started reading these forums, and what I've discovered is a lot of the people that were in there just to troll and piss people off, right? And so I was like, damn, for 1 week, I'm going to cut and paste something from this Facebook group onto my status and just put the word yo in front of it. So it sounds like I said it.
It sounds like you.
So it sounds like me. So I did this for a week. And so I said 1 week of being a flat earther, just a little social experiment to see how people would treat me, react. And it was wild, dude. I was getting fucking the meanest messages from people, and people that like I thought liked me and shit, like dudes I played lacrosse with in college, and like people were like, "You're a fucking moron, walk off the edge of the fucking earth." Like,
I don't understand why people get so mad.
And then I really got into the trolling part of it. So once someone would try to come at me with some real facts and some knowledge, then I'd just go back in that Facebook group, cut and paste something about the dinosaurs not being real, and that'll just set them the fuck off. You know what I mean?
Like into a whole.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing, and a lot of people really believed that I went fully insane, and were very worried about me. I was getting messages from my aunts and my cousins being like, "Yo, like, tell me this is a joke." Like everybody's very.
What's also nuts that now, like my pops talks to me about sometimes he just gets so upset about the stuff that he sees on Facebook because like the people that he grew up with or like people that he went to high school with just like make these insane statuses. I'm like, why don't you just unfriend them? But it's a completely different time. I remember like 8 years ago, if somebody we were friends with on Facebook was like doing that, like making insane statuses, we would get so pissed too.
Yeah.
So it's just like Facebook is just like taken over like I feel like a little bit of an older of a generation. So like, especially when you're posting like flat earth shit.
Man.
When people are seeing all this other nonsense from probably other kids at their high school or people that they grew up with, they're like, all right, has this guy really lost his mind also?
Yeah. And it it was very interesting, man. I had a really fun time fucking doing it. But then it really took a toll on me though too, just seeing how quick people were flipping on me, like people that I've known for years and should know that I'm a comic and that this is most likely a joke. Like, would you rather believe that I'm joking or that I'm actually like this fucking stupid? And most people chose that they believe Ben's this fucking stupid over the fact that I might possibly be kidding and I'm a fucking professional comedian.
I mean, bro, I was like, so, I mean, before you came on, I told Pat, I was like, Benny may think that the earth is flat. Pretty sure he doesn't think that it's flat, but he may think it's flat.
I got brought on Big J and Dan Soder's podcast, The Bonfire for Comedy Central, as a flat earth expert because they had seen my posts and thought that shit was real. So, but yeah, man, it's, no, that one's just outrageous. And I believe that most people that say they believe that the earth is flat, they are straight up just saying that to get a rise out of whoever the fuck they're saying it to. They don't actually believe the earth is flat. It's a massive troll. Like that's what I think the whole thing is. And then there's like the 2% of people that are actually that fucking stupid.
Right.
But most of the people that are saying they're flat earthers are only doing it to really get a rise out of like logical, like intelligent people.
Nuts, man. So actually giving us, I don't know, maybe a couple more conspiracy theories that are maybe intelligent people would fall for it. Like the World Trade Center 7 building bombing is a little fishy.
It's a little fishy.
Because if you look at news reports, Benny is right. They did a report before it happened.
Yeah.
And also like, why did number 7 get blown up?
And the ways 1 and 2 fell also are also
squidge. Like, they were saying like metal doesn't fall like that.
And they collapsed like right into their goddamn foot, like blueprints. You know what I mean?
Clean.
It was mad clean, bro.
It was a clean like
shit is wild,
fall.
man. Shit is wild. I would love to know.
No, it was just
Right, I would love to know the intentions and the reasons.
So sad,
but
though. Yeah, me too. But also the other theory you brought up,
aliens?
No, wait, we'll go back to that. But us faking the moon landing, possible. We haven't been back. It's 2020. Elon Musk is trying to send a rocket to Mars, if that's right. I don't know. He's doing something with Mars.
Well, people are also saying
Mars
that he didn't send
way further than.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've sent plenty of shit to the moon and plenty of shit to Mars, but no man has walked. I believe we've been able to send our rovers and all that shit.
What do you mean to the moon?
Yeah, to the moon.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, because I just don't think people have walked on the moon. I believe there have been moon landings where we've sent shit and little rovers have gone and fucking done tests, but no man, especially in the fucking 60s, get out of town, bro.
Like, I don't know why we wouldn't go up there right now, Ted Jones World Podcast, and just bring our 4K camera and just film some footage on the moon and do some dumb shit on the moon. Like, we could easily do. I'd pay maybe, I don't know, I'd put 100K down. I think.
Man.
I think the payoff in the latter part would be good.
I find it strange that like all these billions of fucking people in other countries just are like, we're not going, and it's like that's suspicious.
Right. And not much of a story.
Like what I was saying last week on the podcast was like, when people just deem every conspiracy theory like ridiculous or like only quacks believe in it, what I was saying is like the government has been proven. It's been proven time and time again that the government lies all the time.
Fact.
The government lies to the general public. So I think I just think it's so ignorant and just as dumb to just wholeheartily take everything that the government says as truth than to question things that the government says.
That's worse.
Exactly.
That's what I think too. I think that's worse to literally just take everything at face value that you're being fed. It's like your parents when you're a fucking kid. They're trying. You can't believe everything they're fucking saying.
Yeah, right. I mean, but there is why did I just bite my tongue? There is always at one point in your life where you do, or throughout like age, I don't know, when you turn like 10 or something. And you realize that like your parents are not fucking right about everything.
Have you?
Up until the age 10, you think they're right about everything.
Yeah.
I still think my mom is usually right about things. My dad, not so much. But
have you? Ben, have you heard about the Laurel Canyon conspiracy? The one we were talking about.
No.
So Laurel Canyon. I'll talk about it quickly because we talked about it last week. But Laurel Canyon. This is a recent one I've heard, and I've been reading a lot about it. It's pretty interesting. So. Like Laurel Canyon was this place in California where a lot of the people and like the hippie music movement used to go to record music. So like Jim Morrison, Frank Zappa, like a bunch of other people. And it just so happens that all these musicians, their parents, their fathers were like high-ranking military officials. So basically, the theory was you know what MK Ultra is?
Yeah.
So just to refresh anyone who didn't listen last week, like, so MK Ultra is basically the government trying to experiment with psychedelic drugs to use mind control on people, and they were giving LSD to kids and like unwilling patients to try and test mind control. They hired like Nazi scientists to come and test this shit out. So basically, what they're saying is the military and the CIA, they took their kids who were these like hippie musicians to kind of like facilitate the hippie movement so that they could distribute these drugs, distribute like hallucinant drugs and like hippie drugs out to the general public, and during these war protests that they were having, to test whether or not they could use like mind control from all these people using drugs. So like the whole hippie movement is like apparently this big
this
like
happen-
failed mind control.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
this happen before or after the like the war on drugs? Before, right?
Well,
Well, the war on drugs is like 19.
no, this is from this started in the 60s.
Yeah.
This went
This
from
is
like
before.
the 60s and it ended in the early 80s.
So they wanted to see if they could not go to war on drugs before that, and then
They were trying to see if they would if it would work for mind control, because like I said, MK Ultra was an actual CIA. It actually happened. It's not a conspiracy. Like it's all documented. You can go read about it.
Weird.
So they're basically saying before MK Ultra, they wanted to try and distribute this stuff out into the public. So they use these musicians to push this movement to try and distribute all these drugs during these war protests, so they could see if they could control them during the war protests with these drugs. And once they figured out they couldn't, they started banning and cracking down on all these drugs.
Interesting.
It's crazy, right?
So that was really great, guys. Thank
Mind
you
control,
so
man.
much for talking about mind control, moon shuttle service, the World Trade Center, freaking other ones that we're talking about. That's terrific. So if you guys are watching right now, that's great. We're having a fun time.
We're having a great time. What about cloning, dude?
As you can see.
Cloning?
I think there's
Cloning?
clones around. I think there's a bunch of clones, like human clones.
Yeah, well, yeah, and now
in
they're trying
general
to
population.
Now they're trying to like make it illegal. They're trying to like cover it up because like people using, they're like trying to ban third-party companies from like harvesting your stem cells. Like there's a bunch of people, I think the FDA made it like stem cell harvesting illegal because you can bank your stem cells for when you're in your 60s and 70s and you want to re-inject your 30-year-old stem cells back into yourself.
Yeah.
So there's these stem cell banks that have people's stem cells that people can't access because the FDA, I think it's the FDA, banned stem cell harvesting. So like probably because they don't want people to figure out that the government is probably cloning people and using stem cells for other reasons.
Oh yeah. And well, I mean, cloning has just gotten so fucking easy. If you ever look that up, people are cloning all sorts of shit in Japan and China. You know, Barbara Streisand has 8 of the same dog. Did you know that?
Really?
Her dog died, and she cloned her dog 8 fucking times, and she has
like same eye color,
same genetic makeup, same exact genetic shit. They're different once they're made. They're different things,
right.
But their genetic
they're using
makeup
the same genetic code
it's
as
the
the last
exact
one.
same DNA.
Google
and
that. Don't worry, I'm
and it's wild because I started when I heard that I started doing some research on who else is cloning and stuff like that. We're the leaders in that shit. I believe it's in Texas or something where they're doing the most of it.
United States?
United States, yeah, the United States. Not like us three, but United States.
We're like top tier cloners, but not top.
There's so it's like us, and then you go into like Japan and like Korea, and they're cloning all sorts of things from like, I think there's like a certain kind of beef, like they get one bull that's like dope, right? For like Wagyu beef or some shit like that, and they clone that fucking cow 100,000 times, and they sell that fucking steak.
Oh my god!
Because it's the same fucking cow, and they've been cloning this same cow because everybody's like, damn, that cow was bomb. Like I want that cow again. And so and they're doing it to fucking everything, and you wouldn't believe what they've cloned when you look at the list of things that other countries have cloned. Turkey, I mean, not the country, not like the but like
they probably have cloned turkeys too.
They have cloned turkeys, but everything from camels to whatever. But China, back in 2019, just last year, actually just cloned and brought back the first extinct species ever.
Really?
Yeah, there's some extinct antelope that was that's been extinct for thousands of years or whatever, and they did some Jurassic Park shit where they took that DNA and they put it inside the pussy of some other antelope, modern day antelope, and it fucking crapped that thing out. And Yeah, it's just
That's
wild.
actually the scientific term.
Yeah,
They
but
craft it
elephants,
out.
they've done it to everything. I mean, just when you look at the list, you're like, fuck, that's a lot of things. And then and then monkeys, they just started doing monkeys.
All right, Benny, wait. Let me just get in here just to fact check you. He's actually very right about that. And this article came out in May 2018 when Barbara Streisand did actually clone her dog. And
What kind of dog was it?
It cost like $50,000.
Yeah, each time.
Well, now, you could.
3 of her Cotton Day Tuliers.
That must be the
What?
breed.
Yeah, the breed.
I guess. What the hell?
Well,
is
yeah,
that?
can't you can do prenatal genetic engineering now, can't you? Like you
Right,
can
well,
choose your
you can
choose
do
your
eye color.
your eye color.
I
and-
don't believe you can do it in the United States yet, but I know
No.
China's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
with it, and China's actually the ones that are leading that shit. That they just eliminated the HIV virus from a baby that was going to be born with
Really?
parents that had both had HIV,
HIV.
and they were able before the kid was born to eliminate the gene or whatever. I'm not a
Yeah.
fucking scientist, but so it's getting very advanced. You know what I mean? And all these countries, and especially the U.S., and they've done it, up to a monkey. Motherfucker, you think you stop at a monkey?
Yeah,
you don't
monkey, yeah.
stop at a monkey.
Yeah.
You don't stop, motherfucker. You start. You see how far you can take that shit.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been released to general public yet. But I believe, like you said, I don't know why. I mean, the U.S. government could be cloning a shit ton of people and using it for the ultra rich. So if your fucking liver ever fails, you can get your own actual fucking liver.
Wait, but where do you
Well,
keep
that's gonna be the
clothes?
future
Where
of
do you
medical.
keep 'em?
Yeah.
Where do you keep
So
them?
there's a movie.
Thanks.
There's a movie with Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor called The Island, and you guys should watch this shit. But that's essentially the premise: is that rich people have been cloning themselves, and so you could, like you said, when you're 70, you can have your 30-year-old fucking spring in your step or whatever.
Yeah.
And they keep them all on this island, like in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they've told these clones that like the world has ended, so they all have to stay on
they
this
have to stay
fucking
there.
island.
So when the rich people need to come back and get them.
and then
Yeah.
and then I forget there's I don't know. It's a great fucking
And
premise.
everyone, well, I mean, I don't want to give too much away from it, but everyone is in this certain movie, this certain circumstance. Like everyone has a mind, and everyone is exactly the same.
Yeah.
it would just be like 2 people.
You've
Correct.
seen it?
No, I'm asking.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's wild. You guys should check it out. It's really good, actually.
Damn,
Too.
that's
Have
like
you-
I think Michael Bay directed it too, so there's
Oh,
all like
of
there's
course.
explosions and like that thing that he
Of
does with
course
the spinny
explosions.
camera and shit. Yeah, but it's cool. So I think that's another conspiracy is that I think that there are clones
Yeah.
that have been made. 100%.
They think they're walking among us as like.
That I'm not so sure. I don't.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. But then again, like you depending on how much money you have, if you fly to fucking Korea and you find some place that's willing to clone your dog, you find some shady ass dude from
Well, you
that
can go
company.
to Mexico and all
Yeah.
that shit's legal in Mexico. They do
Yeah.
all kinds of stem cell shit in Mexico.
Yeah. So I don't know.
The world is a crazy place.
Do you
Jeez.
we what? Oh, the world.
Go ahead.
The,
Yes. Yes. The world.
I thought you meant me. I was like, damn. We talked about when the space what the fuck dude guys were here.
Nice.
We were talking about
Danny and Zach.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Bob Lazar. You know about Bob Lazar? He was on Rogan. You haven't seen that?
No.
Wow. All right, you got to go watch Bob Lazar on Rogan.
Who's Bob Lazar?
So Bob Lazar was this.
it's a fun name to say.
You
Bob
got,
Lazar.
like, you got to watch it. And there's a documentary on
Lazar.
Netflix, but I actually think the Rogan interview with him is better. So basically, there's this guy Bob Lazar who was a scientist / like engineer in the 70s who lived in Nevada. And basically he said that he was recruited to work at this place called S4. And S4 was basically like the sister base to Area 51. So it was this place out in the desert where they did, it's a real place,
Right.
where they did, classified government experiments or whatever.
Yeah.
So what he said is that he was hired to reverse engineer alien spacecraft. So basically they found these aliens.
Basically.
Yeah, I say basically way too much. They found these alien spacecraft in the desert, or where, I guess they didn't tell us where they found them, but they
Right.
found them either in like another star system or they were on Earth. And basically they hired this guy, Bob Lazar, to be on this team where he was reverse engineering alien spacecraft to try and figure out how it worked. And these spacecraft were not using typical combustion technology. Like, I don't know if you heard about the Tic Tac. Like it's one of these spacecrafts that this Navy pilot saw.
Recently, yeah, and they just released the video of it
Right,
because
exactly.
and they admitted that there's been a secret.
Yeah.
What's the name of it? I can't
What?
remember. There's been a secret branch of government that has been tasked with
identifying
identifying
okay.
identifying
Flying
unidentified flying objects. Yeah.
So Bob Lazar was saying that these things that they were working on, and it is exactly like the Tic Tac. So what happened was he was saying that, so the Tic Tac in the video was what they were calling it, the Tic Tac, because it was shaped like a Tic Tac.
Yeah, I remember.
It moves freely back and forth, up and down.
And on an axis, it can like move
exactly.
like this. Yeah.
So what Bob Lazar was saying is that these alien spacecraft, how it works is they manipulate the gravity. They don't use combustion. They don't gas. Nothing's propelling it forward. They manipulate the gravity in front of it so that it can move freely because there's no gravity moving against it. So that's why it can move. And he tells all these like accounts, and there's like a lot of things that he was talking about.
Very mathematical.
But he says a lot of things that are backed up that they ended up finding were true. Like all these things that someone in the general public wouldn't know about, like that they were using these fingerprint scanners to get into S4. Like all the employees had to use fingerprint scanners, and this was in the 70s before that was even remotely a technology.
Right.
And people like on Reddit who are like just do this stuff for fun, like research, found pictures of like this scanner that they actually use. So like there's some things backing him up, and then he has video. Like he would bring his friends out to the Nevada desert when he knew they were going to be doing these test flights of these spacecrafts. He has these like grainy videos of like lights and stuff that look like spaceships kind of like flying around the desert. It's like pretty compelling, but I don't know, you got to check it out.
I'm 100% in, because I also
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's been downed aircraft like down Roswell and shit. That's a shady one too.
Jeez, you guys read a lot of shit.
Yeah, man. I love it. I love it, man.
I think it's just interesting. I don't not necessarily believe all of it, but I just think it's at least an interesting and fun read. Yeah.
Cool.
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar, yeah.
Bob Lazar.
On Rogan. You got to watch it.
So, Benny, now that we have you on the podcast, great little fun time we're having.
Yeah,
having over here. I see you're double cupping the red solo.
Yes, delicious.
Very
Maybe
nice.
a little
So,
drink.
this brings us to the part of the episode, this little segment we call "Don't Do That." So, since this is a special episode, Conspiracies Part 2, we're going to let you take the lion's share of this conversation. So, Benny, has there been anything annoying that somebody you know has done recently, or somebody that you don't know has done recently? Anything that's been grinding your gears?
Before I got here, that's what I was saying. I was going to say. So my girlfriend Remy Casimir.
Remy Casimir, she was on the pod.
What do you know?
Of course, we know Remy.
Do you know which episode she was on? Look it up.
Yes, we do.
Very talented comedian and podcast host of How Come.
Very sweet.
We were just at her apartment, and it is a fucking mess. And we, ordered a bunch of Dominoes, and the kitchen's fucking trashed, and there's weed fucking everywhere, and there's empty fucking, food wrappers. It's just a mess in the apartment right now. And it's her dad's goddamn birthday.
Oh, it's her dad's birthday.
And Joel was like, I'm going to come over, and let's go. I'm going to come over to the apartment. And she was like, sure. And he's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And then texted me to say that he was going over, and I'm like, no father wants to walk into an apartment and see it in the state that this shit is in. You know what I mean? I'm like, if Joel's coming over, like, we should be spick and span in that place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, to be respectful and shit. So that's what was annoying me. I was like, why on earth would you do that?
Episode 21, Remy Casimir. Well, I think she just maybe oversaw it and just wants to see her dad on his B-day.
Yeah, I mean,
to be fair,
I think they were. Yeah, the plan was they were going to go out for dinner, and then I left to come do this pod. And had I known he was coming over, I would have done the fucking dishes. I would have cleaned the house.
Yeah.
I don't want to look bad in front of her dad. I don't want him having any ammunition to be like, you're being lazy to her or anything like that. Like, so I was just like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. That was annoying. It was annoying.
Right. Well, is he actually going back to the house?
Yeah. So I just before we started recording, she finally got back to me and she was like, yeah, he'll be here in like 10 minutes. I was like, well, you got to get in that kitchen. And you got to like, before you let him up, that place needs to look way better. And so she was like, all right, I'll do it. And I was like, okay. So we'll see if she did it. But I was like,
we'll see.
I was like, man, because my parents are the same way.
Yeah, my parents are like that. They'll like be disappointed
if
in
they
me if my place
came
is a
and
mess.
saw my house in Jersey. If my parents came and saw my house in Jersey, they would be seriously worried about me. You know what I mean? If they came and saw my bedroom, you know what I mean? Yeah, dude, it's a mess, bro. And they would just be like, yeah, so it's just,
Right.
don't
So keep it clean for your parents. Don't
keep it clean for your parents.
Don't be messy.
Oh, and if you know the apartment's messy, don't invite them over, or say, hey, I need 30 minutes before you come over so you can at least get the apartment ready.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it ended
up.
up fine. I'm sure it ended up fine, but I was very annoyed because I was like, and then I couldn't get a hold of her. That's also annoying.
Right.
When you can't, when you're trying to get a hold of people and they don't answer their goddamn phones. That's annoying.
It's like, what are you doing over there?
Dude, don't do that.
Yeah, literally. You better pick up your phone.
Dude,
Don't not do that.
Don't,
dude.
yeah, dude.
It's fucking
Yeah.
insane.
Woo, that got me hot just now.
Damn. Well, cool off. We got a window open here. Pat, what are we at over there, man? How are we looking?
40 minutes.
40 minutes, Ben. We've had a nice full combo this entire time. Is there anything you want to plug before we leave? We know you have shows this weekend in Oregon. You want to give us the name of the club that you're working at? You want to
I'm gonna be with Andrew Schultz doing some time on his shows at Helium Portland, and then I'm heading out to Skankfest in Houston. So that's a pretty awesome comedy festival. So if you're in Texas or near Houston, check that out. That is March 26th through the 29th. I will be there, and it's fantastic. There's tons of great comics going, and it should be really fun, man.
Are you going to be doing Black Cat at 172 Rivington this Friday or what?
No, I will be out of town. I leave tomorrow morning. You got me just before my fight, man.
Perfect. I'm actually going to be doing that show on Friday at Black Cat 172 Rivington.
Oh yeah,
Street.
I love. It's a great show.
Benny murders that show. It is a great show, dude. So happy we got you on the pod
dude, I had a
before
great
you're
time.
leaving for Oregon. Pat, you got anything else to say over there, man? I'd say this was a successful
Great.
part 2 episode of the conspiracy theories over
Pleasure.
here on the
Absolutely.
Ted
Thanks for
Jones
coming
World
on.
podcast. Benny Demarco, thank you so much. You were really great on this podcast. And hey, he's not as crazy as we all thought.
That's right.
Benny, thank you so much. We will see you guys next week for episode 28. Like, comment, subscribe, and
Ted
we'll see
Jones.
you guys later.
Cheers.
Peace.